comment your questions below on this video and we'll get them answered for you. All right, let's look through. I knew I wasn't crazy as a child. Yeah, that's good. That's people are acknowledging now because of the alien video exposing aliens amongst us. People are like now starting to know that they weren't crazy when they were a child, because when you talk about these things like aliens, people think, you know, you're losing your marbles. Keep going. Okay. So many people are awakening. Great video, thank you. Also really brilliant seeing another fellow UK chap. Okay, no questions there. Zamal, Rahubat Zamal, this again really has opened up a lot of understanding for me. I'm loving and learning so much about wu-sabat. Tawutak, I appreciate love. Okay. I remember his likeness portrait used to be in the barber shop and they wouldn't tell me who he is. They would say, you're not ready yet. I asked, I was ready. Okay, so someone's talking about seeing Partner Babylon's video at a barber shop, and when he asked about it, they would say he's not ready yet. Elder, I remember that in the 80s there was a series called V. Oh, you know what? Look out for the next video, because that's something I've got that I want to touch on. Yeah, that V. I'm going to go into that in great detail. I remember that series. I want to go back. I think they did a remake of it, V. But many people didn't know what V really stood for, yeah? So they told you in the series that it was victory. But actually it wasn't. It was Vulcan. And I'm going to go into that because when we start dealing with the extraterrestrials, we're going to go into that in more detail. Yeah, I remember that as well. Bro, and we shall now speak of the science of pronunciation, alphabet, accent, measure, uniformity. It's a long one, long comment. In the cosmos and of the cosmos, you speak the truth. Okay, no question there. Jimi Hendrix, best friends and his producers, the Aleem twins, were both in AEO. Really? They were, oh, see, I didn't know that. Jimi Hendrix was actually in AEO and was a long-time student of the master teacher, Partner Babylon. Okay, this information is amazing. Finally, information that awakens my soul. With this class, if I was not a member of tribe already, I would be running to find a bookstore. Great job, beloved. Keep the facts coming. Absolutely. Like we keep saying, find your nearest bookstore. That might be online if you don't have one near you. But yeah, definitely, because there's so much information. We only scratch the surface when we're doing the videos. I was shocked and I asked my friend, did you see that? Okay, let me read that comment. It says, one day my friend and I were talking in the grocery store parking lot and a car of 4 people drove by us very slowly. We looked in the car and saw a man and woman sitting in the front and 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, sitting in the back. All of a sudden, all their eyes looked like flashlights, beams shining out of their eyes. I was in shock and I asked my friend, did you see that? She said, yes. I said, what did you see? She said, beams were coming out of their eyes. Yeah, we've got so many extraterrestrials living amongst us. Yeah, someone else is saying they have always been here since the beginning of time. People need to have the facts, and I'm glad they are here. This earth needs help becoming civilized. Sakem, amazing video. This touched my heart. I wish I can like this video a million times. Yeah, get all your friends to like the video and get their friends to like it as well. That's how you can do it. So far, no real questions yet. Oh, all this, and this is one I can touch on, all this and still have no pictures of aliens or videos with all these cameras. These drones, what you're seeing is made by the government, even the crafts as well. Right, you might say that, but there are people all across the world who, when they have an experience, they go and have, you know, regression. where they give them pen and paper, pieces of paper to draw what they saw. So imagine you have 10 different people that have seen something or had an experience with something, with an ET or something, in different countries, and they all draw the same thing. How is that possible? So the extraterrestrials are smart where they can even wipe your memory. They show you this in Men in Black when they put on the glasses and then they click the pen or whatever they have and like the person forgets. So there are times where they wipe your memory, but it's still there because it's in your subconscious. So you can still access it when you go into hypnotic regression. So yes, you might say there are no pictures, but now you're going to start seeing more and more pictures. People are filming now. You've got video footage. We know AI is also available and people are using AI to like fake it. And that's the point, that when you mix the truth with the fake, people are confused because someone might come across a fake one. They say, oh, that's fake. But then somebody else will come across a real one and then they will say it's real. But the confusion is created. That's why, yes, there were government drones because the government put out the drones and other hobbyists put out the drones so that they can make it look like it's not real. But as time goes on, you're going to see more and more footage that you're not going to be able to dispute. Thank you so much for this amazing information. We are from Hungary and Romania. I love and like peace. Okay. Awesome. I kept trying to show them to people. I wanted to ask, why would a star follow a person? Because I didn't know what this thing was. I knew not stars really. Yeah, that's another thing. When you study stars, you know, they go through a process of when they're born and when they live and when they die, and meteorites and, you know, different astral bodies that you can literally see. Like I said before, you do not get certain colors with meteorites and you do not get certain movement with, you know, like meteorites. Because if something is falling, it's just going to fall in one direction. If something is manned or controlled, then it's going to fall, stop, go back, go up, go down, zoom off. That's something that is being controlled. So these are the things that you have to look out for when you're dealing with sightings, aerodynamics versus things that are organic. All right, let's keep going. Thanks for sharing your knowledge of the truth. I'm learning a lot of things watching your videos. Respectful. Why can't Dr. York ET family rescue him since human efforts have failed? Honest question. Yeah, that's a good question. So there've been many times where they've come and have said to him, let's go. And there was a time in New York when New York blacked out. That was one of the instances where they came and they were like, let's go. This was, if you know what happened when he was arrested, and then he was moved to Brunswick, and then they had to do they wanted to do a psychological test to see that if he was insane or not well, and they had to transport him to New York to carry out the test. And when he was in New York, the crowd came over New York and there was a blackout. I can't remember the exact date right now, but I can find it and let you know. But that's one of the times they've come for him. The three beings that have accompanied him all his life, which is Krill, Alamo, and Sa'at, they have also come to his rescue many times. He has said they've had to resuscitate him and help him when, you know, many attempts have been made on his life. So they do, but every time they say let's go, he's like, no, there are people here, that there's some sincere people that, you know, he can save. And when he started his mission, that's one of the things, when they showed him the future of what was going to take place, and they were saying how there's going to be much destruction, and then he was like, so why are you asking me to do it? He said that they told him that he's going to save many people. And from then, every time he's been asked to leave, he's saying no. He's here to try and say that we are worthy and we are worthy of being saved. Thank you so much for leading us towards clarity and sound understanding. Rahubat Zamasakem, wishing you a blissful week. Tawutat for your updates and clearing up what is going on. I really hope the Master Teacher, our beloved partner, Barry Anun Malachi ZK York, will be free soon. He will be. It's going to come just like he came before, like a thief in the night. Many people are going to be shocked and not even aware how or when. He's the only one who knows that time, but that time is definitely upon us. The point is we have to be ready. Many thanks to Malachi York. Thank you for your classes. Let's go of the sixth ether. I had my types of experiences with UFO and other entities in a dream state. You mentioned Egg Island. All right, sounds like a question. You mentioned Egg Island and the Arctic. We said Antarctic, but you've put Arctic. If you see the UAP crafts, they are the color and shape of an egg. Very well presented, my friend. Oh, okay. Yeah, Egg Island. If you haven't got the Proverbs of Yanun yet, there's a diagram in there right at the beginning that shows you how people kind of came about from the migration from the landing site in Egg Island. Watching from India. Another great upload. Big thanks. I find it very interesting that Dr. York went to jail for what he went for, and Rashad Jamal was teaching his teachings and went to jail for almost the same thing, almost as if there was a cover-up. Yeah, this is funny because in one of the latest updates, the master teacher said that for all of these years, he was trying to figure out what it was, why he was kidnapped. And it was only like recently when, you know, the American government did the disclosure of UAPs and UFOs that he realized what it was. It wasn't so much for the false charges and allegations. It was because they realized that he knew and had this information, which, remember, to the governments, they have information that's classified. And until it's unclassified, to them, no one should have access to it. So in looking at Dr. York's books, he was putting out information that to them was classified. You know, many of the project like the MJ12, the Majestic 12, Project Blue Book, the Rainbow Project, the Adama Project, there were many projects that were not, they were classified, and he was putting out the information throughout the books. Remember, he came on the scene saying, I'm an extraterrestrial from the planet Risk, which is in the galaxy Ilion, the 19th galaxy. And he was teaching about all these extraterrestrials and explaining that the Bible and the Quran and the books that we're reading, that we're calling the beings God, angels, etc., that they're extraterrestrial. But back then, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even up to the 90s, people thought he's not well, he's crazy. You know, they were like trying to make fun of him. You come from a planet with 3 suns called Risk in the 19th galaxy and you're an extraterrestrial. But then the information years later on was something that was then exposed and proven to be true. So that's why they put him inside, because they were like, this guy's having access somehow. Because remember, if you put out information right now that's classified and you're working in any of the government projects, that means you have to have some kind of security clearance to have access to that. Like, you know, Bob Lazar and certain people that were working in Area 51, they were not able to expose or share any of the things they were exposed to, you know, where they were like trying to reverse engineer crafts, you know, with aliens that crashed and, you know, were unalived. And they were basically studying them. And people that worked in these projects, they had to have security clearance. It's only when the Freedom of Information Act and certain things were passed years down the road that information started to come out. And when you look at Project Blue Book and look at some of these projects, even when they put out these unclassified or previously classified documents that were unclassified, when you read them, they were covered up and like certain sections of them were marked out. So yeah, that's why anytime anyone started to speak about, you know, information that was not unclassified, they saw them as a security risk. Because remember, from the government's point of view, they want to maintain and keep control and not cause chaos and people like, imagine people that have believed in God or Allah or these beings all their life. Imagine they get told, you know what, they don't exist. Some people can actually like lose it. Okay, let's keep going. Some fascinating facts here that correspond with the Bible and other holy books of knowledge. You really make me think about our culture, which blinds us to truths that are right in front of us. Exactly. That's why we're saying that throughout the ages, even in the so-called religious books, it's been there all along, but you were just not looking at it from the right mindset. And now when you go back, you read it and ask yourself, does it make sense? And then you start to see clearly that it is extraterrestrials coming and going and doing things. Love, peace, harmony is what we need to improve our current conditions. The world is in turmoil, changing of everything from how the education system, religious systems, and many other mind controlling systems will help us improve. Hopefully we come together before time has run out. That's just it. It's just coming together because we the people, remember the governments are set up by the people. And if more people come together and ask for information, then we can be united and the government has to really do what we want. You've seen many leaders being overthrown at the moment by the people that are just like, no, we want truth, we want facts. D Brown 5744, best teaching on YouTube, 100%. Yeah, always some vision is where it's at. If you're not tuned in yet, get tuned in because we're going to keep coming with more information that no one else is going to give you. Trust that. The scroll title is God and Extraterrestrial. Yep, that was it predicted. Oh, that's a good one. Darren Simpson 9554. You know what, yeah? For us, it's amazing because, like you say, things were predicted years ago. Like you said, 9/11 was predicted in God, it's God and Extraterrestrial. But even the LA fires that are going on right now, the master predicted that to us over a few months ago. He said, and there's more to come, he said, he actually used the word cyclones of fire going to be going through America. And no one else had said cyclones. And like when we saw it, we were like, wow, like his predictions literally are now coming through. Before he would predict things years in advance, like you say, like in the 80s, 90s. That's why people that are aware of Dr. York, they're like, wow, this was said to us in the 80s and the 90s, and everything that he has said has come through. So now it doesn't even wait years. It's like if he says something's going to happen, it's like weeks or months and it comes through. So you're right that many predictions, like again, he predicted Obama being president in the scroll called My Brother the Extraterrestrial years before he became president. And there are many, many predictions. In fact, maybe we should do a video on the stuff he predicted that have come through. And again, that's why, you know, he's been hidden away from the world, but the world needs to know. Wow, this is a big one. Let me see if I can. When I was a child, I had an experience that stayed in my mind my whole life. I was staying with my grandma on a farm in the middle of nowhere. I slept in her guest room 3 nights straight. Fear came over me out of nowhere. Something told me to look at the window, so I did. I seen nothing the first night, but I had a weird feeling over myself, like my body was detecting something my eyes couldn't see, so I went back to sleep. The second night, the same thing, something woke me up and told me to look out the window, and I did. This time, I saw a flying ship that glowed and moved faster than anything I ever seen. But it was going slow. When I looked out the window, I got a good look at it. Then it flew away faster than, there's more of it as well, faster than, hope it's not, okay, not going to the rest. But yeah, like the thing about this is that I've had experiences, you know what I mean? Like most people don't look up. This is another thing. A lot of people have been taught to look down, or they like on their phones all the time. So most people are always looking down. If you look up, try and look up as many times as you can during the day, especially when the stars are bright and out, and then you start to see the difference. You know, like with any subject, people may not be familiar with it or have never come across it. So if you're not used to studying the stars, looking up, you can't tell the difference from stars, aeroplanes and drones. So you have to start looking into the stars to see. Go somewhere where like there's, you know, in the cities that the clouds are not really like they're covering the stars. But if you can go somewhere where you can look at the stars properly, like when you go abroad, like if you go to Jamaica, Africa, places where you don't get an overcast like you do in the UK, you can see so many crafts. Um, Companies like Samsung have cars that can fly. They are testing these and are now about ready to start delivering them to people interested in buying. I know because I've seen on the list for about 5 years now. Yeah, this is what we're saying with extraterrestrial technology. We're moving into that time where, you know, you're going to start seeing flying cars. They were teaching you this in Back to the Future and certain movies that they've been talking about flying cars. I think China and Japan, they've got them. But the thing is that they're still using old technology, to be honest. But that's where we're moving into. Even the Fifth Element, they had flying cars in there. So a lot of the time they will show you these things in movies and you think it's just entertainment. But then years down the line, you see it and you think, wow, I saw that. If you go back and watch, what's that movie with the comedian Will Smith? The iRobot? Yeah, iRobot. Again, in there, they were telling you about these robots that you're seeing. Like, look at the ones Elon Musk has got out now. You see they're literally the same thing. Okay, wait up for a second. What does it mean when beings show themselves to you on a regular? Then if you come across artifacts and you find them when a voice or intuition tells you to stop and go to that point to retrieve it, then this is a two-part question. What do deities or the supreme intellect in the physical form show themselves from above on question? And if shown to those with true vision, what color would the sky be? That question is a little bit confusing for me, but some people are actually scared and these beings can pick up your energy. So if you've got like the adrenaline kicks in and you're afraid, they will back off. But if you're someone that is open, because you may even be related to some of these beings that are trying to make contact with you. So some people are not afraid and there must be a reason why they want to contact you. Some of them just want to pass on messages. Yeah, it depends. Everyone's reason is going to be different. Some just want to abduct people. So it all depends on the kind of experience you have. But you will know based on how you feel. Do you feel scared? Do you feel comfortable to approach them? Okay. Have I already addressed the significance of the planetary alignment on January 25th, 2025? I haven't actually. I'm going to have to come back to you on that. But like we've said, between now and 2030 and beyond, there are going to be more and more, you know, sightings and things happening with the alignments. Because the thing about alignments, I think I should touch on this. When you're thinking about our planet, right? Our planet is a craft, just like Nibiru is a craft. And you may not look at it that way, but it's like, if you think like let's take like a bus that does a route that goes back and forth. You know, like in the UK we might have, let's say, bus 109, and it's the same in most cities. That bus will run from one end to the other end, its destination, and then it will come back to this end, and then it does that a few times in a day or whatever, and then in fact they just change drivers, so it's constantly doing that. And so it's the same with our craft. The difference is our craft is just going around the sun. So when you study the planet's motion is not only in the orbit around the sun, it's also spinning, right? This is called the nutation. It's wobbling and spinning, like when you spin a top on a table, it's wobbling and spinning, but at the same time going around. So I'm saying that to relate to your question when we're dealing with alignments, that other planets are doing the same thing. They're on a nutation rate and they wobbling, and then they're also on an orbit. And when you're traveling, you have to think that you have spheres, and the way you travel is like you have to time and map out the trajectory if you're going to go through, because you remember you're traveling at massive speeds. So if you miss your jump to get, say, from this area to that area, you might have to wait a very long time to come back to that position if you want to go in that direction. So alignments help because you can, like, if you wanted to travel from, say, one planet to another planet, you have to wait for the right time and the right alignment to go like that. And even then, you have to align with where the gates are, right? Because you have many gates that open on the planet at different locations. So even when you're launching a rocket ship, the trajectory, I watch a movie. What's that movie with the women that were, when NASA was trying to launch an aeroplane, not aeroplane, a rocket, and they were like, the black women were called computers. It's in the tip of my tongue. I can't remember it, but they were they had to make sure they do the calculations to make sure that the trajectory is right. So I'm saying alignments help to allow you to make the journey, because you're talking about traveling, at the speed of light intergalactically, and you can't make a mistake. It's like you could end up anywhere. You can end up in another. You could end up in a black hole, for example, and never come back. So the calculations and the alignments are very useful. And of course, different types of energies come to the planet with the alignment as well. All right. So I just wanted to touch on the alignment thing, because that alignment, 25th of January 2025, I don't have that much information on it, but I will definitely look into that and maybe get some updates from the master if we can. And did I hear you say that we moved and walked over at that time? That's game over, because that means, like, my ancestors saying everything started in Americas. Yeah, that's going back to the Pangea. So yes, the land, that if you look at the way the different continents and the land is at the moment, you can literally see that you can put it together as a jigsaw puzzle, and some parts have eroded more, so it doesn't quite fit. But look at Pangea, or Pangea as they say, where all the land was one, so people literally walked everywhere until the continental drift started to move the different parts further and further apart, and then you now needed boats and eventually aeroplanes to fly from one place to the other. But yes, we did walk over, and that's why the Olmecs in America were definitely, those original beings that walked over. And another way to prove it, as well, as we keep saying, is if you look at the two sides along the coast. With geology, you can test the soil on one side and test the soil on the other side. Look at the plants that grow along the coast on either side. Look at minerals and the rocks and everything that are on both sides, to see that at one point they were together. So people that like to go, oh, no, just do some research. I had no idea about any of this. Thanks so much. I'm from Oklahoma. Oh yeah, there's going to be more and more that we're going to let you know that's what's going on. Okay, I have to admit I'm a disagreeable being. When I first became a conscious being, I said to myself, I don't like this place, and I am still here. It's a shame that Master Hendrix got deleted 1970. Go back and listen to If Six Were Nine. Third Stone from the Sun and the Castle. These are some of his songs. Yeah, listen to them and you will see that he was not of this world. But yeah, being disagreeable is not to be mistaken with being bad. because disagreeable doesn't always mean bad. It just means you disagree. And you can disagree with this system. You can disagree with, like the misinformation. You can disagree with things. Doesn't make you a bad person. Disagreeable is, there are bad people that are disagreeable, don't get me wrong. What we're saying is, that's why we don't use good and bad, because, you know, minus and plus, or negative and positive, both are required to give you the balance. However, being disagreeable or evil is two different things, because you have evil people in all colors, in all races, in basically any situation, but you have disagreeable people who just disagree with something, and doesn't necessarily make them bad. Okay, so enough respect for the info. Amazing talk. Where do you hold your talk? It depends where you are. We are all over the world. Look at the website for locations. But in the UK, we hold them in Croydon, 101 Church Street, CR01RN. That's the postcode. So you can use your sat nav and find us. Good argument and knowledge, King from Jamaica. Hi, I love the channel. Very interesting. Keep it up. I've also had experiences. Love and peace to you and the planet. This is what's great about YouTube and what's great about OSM Vision. It's because you communicate to the whole world, and people from different walks of life, different parts of the world, sharing their experiences. That way you can't say that, they're making it up. This person says York was not the first to talk about these imaginary stories. That's not a question, and no one said he was the first, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about the mother plane. The Bible speaks about these things, like we've mentioned, Revelation 21, Ezekiel's will, Daniel's vision, even, the cloud that the children of Israel were following. The fact that Jesus has gone to heaven, came from heaven, the fact that God is supposed to be in heaven and is sitting in a throne in heaven. So you're saying imaginary, but when you say the word imaginary, you have to remember that's image. So it's not imaginary, it's images. Yeah, that's where you get the word imagination from. That these are stored images, so they're not imaginary if people were capturing the images and are able to show and prove it. Okay, this sounds like a question. Bro, Zamal, you spoke of space, matter, and time. Yet how does one know what time is? Time, I think it's meant to be really is when man can choose to control and maneuver it. Yeah, we're saying there's different types of time. You have fake time and you have natural time. And fake time is what you go by when you're using your clock and your watch, and thinking that time moves, like in, the tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Time doesn't move, and it's based on, someone giving you a concept around what they call time. That's why we say that beings can move in between what you're calling tick and tock, because that's still time. So time, matter, and space, they're a union. So even though you might say you don't subscribe to the clock or the fictitious time, you still have to subscribe to natural time. Natural time does exist. It's just that you've been confused with the fake time. So try it. Ask 10 people at the same time, what time is it? And they will all look at their watch. Obviously now they're using the atomic clock where they try to synchronize all the watches. But before, and even now, people might have like a few minutes out. Someone might say, 10:01. Someone will say it's 10 o'clock. Someone will say it's 2 minutes to 10. That's to show you that, time is, natural time is different from fictitious time. So was there a question? Really can choose to control and maneuver it. You maneuver every day. Like you do things based on what we call now. Now is the most constant or natural time. So, like if I done something right now, that's the time I did it. It's like without even knowing what time it is. Like it's just based on now. And you have multiple then. So now becomes a then in the past, and a then in the future becomes a now. So we use time as in now. You do everything now. So everything is done when you do it. Okay, today I saw what I thought was a flock of birds flying in a V formation. It was luminous orbs the size of birds, less than 100 feet above. Also, it snowed today in New Jersey. Was it a reflection from the snow causing the birds to glow? Or am I going nuts? Or could it have been UAPs? That's another good point, because when things fly in formation, that means they are all working together in synchronicity. So unless you got like 10 people deciding, okay, we're all going to go out to a certain location with our drones and we're all going to fly in formation, that doesn't, add up. So yeah, you've got UAPs, and New Jersey is, especially in Teaneck, is where the master first encountered the extraterrestrials. So he says in that video we did exposing extraterrestrials, that a lot of the activity was in New Jersey. So yeah, you're probably going to see more UAPs in New Jersey than anywhere else. I had some blood work done. Greatness, wu-sabat. I had some blood work done last year. My nurse came back with a crazy look on her face and said, "You are the last of your kind." Whatever she mean, I don't know, and didn't ask. But anyway, she said, until another one like me come into their doctor office like me, then they will know how to treat my sickness. Yeah, exactly. So there are certain bloodlines on the planet that, have powers and certain things that they can do, and they're trying to find the blood. This is why, again, we talk about, why do you have banks called blood banks, where when you go for a blood test, you didn't say, but normally when you go for a blood test, you can take a little prick of blood and put it on the microscope to look at what's in the blood. But when you go for a blood test, normally they take 3 jars about this big, right? And try asking them, why do you need so much blood? Why do you have to take 3 jars of blood? It's because they have blood banks and they're collecting blood, because certain beings need blood transfusions to stay alive. And so this is why they have blood banks all over the country. And also they're looking for specific blood types, because some people have very rare diseases that only certain blood transfusions will help them. And also there are sinister objectives to wipe out certain bloodlines. So yeah, that's why it must have been, a shock when she saw your blood to be different to whatever they're normally testing. Mr. OSM, my first question is, Cain family tree, are they the killer we see in this generation from this bloodline? That actually ties into the previous question as well. Yes, because a lot of things pass down by blood. This is why, the people in the high echelon of society like to keep things within their bloodlines. And yes, so that Cain, the bloodline of Cain, that's how Nana knew that Cain was his son, because most people don't know that in the Bible, when it tells you that, in the English, it just says that Eve had received a son from God, right? That God they're talking about would have been that being known as Nana, and because he killed, that's how he recognized that it was of his bloodline, because that's just showed him like, yeah, this is Cain, is my son. And so yeah, certain bloodlines. So you have, good question as well. People mix up the Canaanites, which are the 11 sons of Canaan, with the Cainites. The Cainites, as you've put it, C-A-I-N, from the lineage of Cain, are those beings on the planet, and they've multiplied. And when he went to the land of Nod, this is why he had a mark on his face, so that people recognize that he was the son of Nana and not to trouble him, because, you know, there will be repercussions. But yeah, I've kind of gone through the whole of this video and we're going to wrap it up. But remember, you can actually ask questions on this video as well. We're going to keep doing these throwbacks, going through the videos and catching any questions in the comments that, you know, we haven't answered or that people have asked. So yeah, look forward to answering more of your questions in the chat. And until then, Wadu.